Welcome back to the Dressing Gown podcast, where Judd's wearing a dressing gown and he's just smiling because he knew I had to fucking comment on that shit. Dressing gown, Judd. Thoughts?
I was like, you know what? He's gonna say something about this, but this is from the comfort of my own home. I'm not like in a studio doing this or something. So it's not like.
There's zero problem with you wearing a dressing gown right now. It's just that it's just odd enough to the point where I'm like, I'm mentioning that shit. That's how we roll.
Yeah, whatever.
Thing is,
because I feel like streamers would be like, oh, that'd be weird, like me going on to stream on camera in my dressing gown. But I'm like, I don't care. It's cold and it's comfy.
It's cozy. I love a dressing gown.
I'm in my house.
The thing is, like, I previously, this was ages ago when I didn't even live in this house. I've worn a dressing gown on stream before, on like a 4-hour stream, just a dressing gown. Nothing else. I just sat there playing a game with a dressing gown. A bunch of people came into chat and like, what the fuck, you in a dressing gown? Show us your nips and shit. And I was like, I would, but I'm not allowed. Because I would, but I actually can't on Twitch. This was when they changed it so even male nips are not allowed. So I'm hoping for a dressing gown. But yeah, the weird thing about it is though that the way we record this. I can see Judd, but he can't see me, and it's not because I don't want him to see me. It's like I can't. Like it wouldn't work. I wouldn't be able to record my camera view for the video version of the podcast as well. So Judd never gets to see me or my background or anything like that. So you can't comment for shit. But yeah, right. Welcome back, folks. Thanks for coming back. If you have come back, if it's your first time, welcome. Good to see you. I can't see you. I'm sorry. I've already lied to you. Oh, they're never coming back again. You can get the video version of this podcast on YouTube and Twitch. You can get it live on those platforms, and you can get it if you miss it live as well. You can also get the video version on Spotify, as well as the audio version on Spotify and all other good streaming platforms and everything. Coming up in today's podcast, I'm a Celebrity has finished. I bumped into some people who were straight out of a fucking movie or something. Gross hair. And I'm going to spend like the majority of this podcast complaining about a game that everyone's already played and decided was kind of bad. So I've just got a lot to say, okay? You're just going to have to bear with me on this one. But first, how are you doing, Judd? What's been going on? You done anything? Wait, don't answer that. I'll answer
Jake,
for you. Let me think. This is what he says every time. It's, have I done anything?
I just want to check that because your microphone sounds like absolute ass to me. I hope it doesn't sound like absolute ass to everybody else.
It won't do, but I'll change it for you as well, Judd. But how you been doing? What's been going on?
Oh God, let me have a think. Nothing. I'm pleased to report nothing's happened.
Good.
Nothing.
Well, I'm glad you're consistent at least.
Yeah.
You've been playing any games recently?
I have. I've been playing Darktide and more Darktide. It is a good game. I like that game. Good game.
How's that? Is my microphone better now?
A lot better. You don't sound like you're talking from like the newly discovered fifth dimension.
Yeah. I changed my microphone for Apex when I'm playing when I'm doing voice chatting in online games, basically, because I don't want to have this big kind of studio looking microphone in front of my face when I'm trying to concentrate like on the screen. Because it gets in the way a bit, and then I can't concentrate as well. So I changed it to my webcam microphone. So that's what anyone can hear when I'm flaming them in game. It's going to be like, "You motherfuckers!" You know. So anyway, but I'm glad you've not been up to anything, Judd. I wanted to ask you something to kick off this podcast, though. Right?
Yeah, go on.
You know the soft drink brand J2O.
I know J2O. I know J2O.
Thoughts on J2Os?
We used to be a lot bigger fans of J2O than we are now.
Before we were alcoholics.
Yeah, before we were alcoholics.
Drink alcohol.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel it's one of those things where it's like, has this gotten worse over the years, or am I just a disgusting, like, decrepit, rotting old man now, and like I'm getting worse over the years, and this just tastes how it always tastes?
Obviously, that one.
Okay, that makes sense. That does make sense. So.
Have you got a favourite flavour of J2O?
I just like the regular old orange J2O.
Is it orange or is it orange and mango?
Oh, actually, I think it's like orange and mango or something.
Orange.
Maybe.
Orange J2O. Orange J2O. Orange and passion fruit. That's it. Orange and passion fruit's the standard one. I always liked the apple and raspberry one more, but I've had one of those scenarios recently that's reignited a memory. You know, what do they call it? I don't know if there's a name for it, but reigniting like an old thing that you'd forgotten about. And the old thing I'd forgotten about was Glitterberry J2Os. Remember these?
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not a. They're all right, but like people went crazy about them. I feel like, and they're just okay.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, I fucking loved these things. I absolutely loved them because, right, my favourite fruits. This is such a weird niche thing to have a mild complaint about. My favourite fruits for things are apple, cherry, and grape. Melon as well. Yeah. Those are sometimes pineapple. These are all the types of fruits that I want juices of. But every fucking time a brand comes out with a drink, it's like apple and raspberry, which I don't like very much. Like I do like raspberry, don't get me wrong, but it's like a lesser fruit I haven't seen. Or it'll be cherry and something else, like kiwi or so. I don't know, fucking know. It'll be cherry and something else, or it'll be melon and lime or something. You know, they put something else with it that I see as a lesser fruit that's ruining it. I think apple and raspberries are a prime example. Pineapple, they always mix it with like mango and stuff like that and ruin it, and I don't like that.
What Jake's saying is there's certain types of fruits that he wishes he could gather together, possibly on trains and send them all into some sort of labor camp. Some certain types of fruits that he just sees
that would be fucking awful, Judd. Fruits can't do labor; they'd go rotten. They're inanimate.
They go rotten.
Now what we need is no.
That's why. That's why they call it fruit juice.
Fruit juice. Oh god, that's an awful joke. That's horrible. We take it back.
Terrible.
That's the worst. Fucking hell. Good play on words, but the joke itself was awful. Fuck me. Anyway, so Glitterberry, I saw it recently in a shop. We were going shopping for a Christmas wreath, and I saw they were selling them in a shop. Now, I've never seen this. When I was a kid, the only time I'd ever seen this drink was in pubs, and I would always get like 3 of them. I would guzzle them because I knew I couldn't get them anywhere else, and I couldn't buy anything as a kid, so I'd want to like make my mum buy me more of them, and not understanding how much things cost. That was a bit of a dick move because they're not that cheap either. But
no, they're on the more expensive side.
They're grape and cherry. My favourite 2 fruits. It's not spoiled. The 2 of my favourite fruits, grape, cherry, and spices. And I'm a spice boy as well. And it's not spicy as in hot, as in it's more like kind of like Christmas pudding spices, you know, that type of thing. You know, like cloves. Like it's not necessarily those exact ones, but it's that genre of spice. So it's fucking perfect for me. Plus, it's got glitter in it. It's got how can you go wrong? It's fucking swirling with glitter. It's incredible. So I just wanted to do a shout out to Glitterberry J2Os basically because I bought a bunch of them. I bought like 8 bottles for £6, which is actually kind of expensive if you think about it. But I don't know. I think it's worth it. I love them. So shout out to Glitterberry J2Os.
Great.
Fucking great. Every time I take a sip, I feel a bit guilty though because they're like. It feels like a rarity. It feels like oil or something, like a scarce resource.
Are you drinking one right now?
Yes, I am.
Yes, good.
But you know, if I can't drink beer like every week or every day, then you know I gotta have something to feel special about. So
I think that's close enough. Yeah.
Have you been keeping up with I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Judd?
No, I haven't.
So
no, I have not.
There's not much to update on it other than it's finished. Matt Hancock got to 3rd place.
Wow.
Of all things, I'm sure there's been some news articles about some bollocks around that and everything, but I've not read them because I don't fucking care. So he got to 3rd place. Not surprising to me because polarizing figures tend to do quite well because it means that they've got a passionate fan base and a passionate anti-fan base, but it means that they've at least got a passionate fan base rather than just having people who couldn't care less. Jill won, who was probably my favourite, which is good. And that's it, really. It was probably the most boring season of I'm a Celebrity I've ever seen. It just I don't know. It was just kind of bad. But that's that. Recently, Judd, it was my anniversary. Well, technically it's my anniversary with my girlfriend. 3-year anniversary today, as of recording this. But as always, I think last time, not my girlfriend's birthday this year, I was with her, but the year before, I ended up recording a podcast on her birthday as well. God. This happens a lot. But it's fine because it's a Wednesday. Who's going to do something for their anniversary on a Wednesday? So we did stuff last weekend. I was going to go into all the stuff that we did, but I don't think anyone's bothered about that. What is interesting is we had to get a train home from Leeds on Sunday, and as you know, Judd, Leeds is a breeding ground for freaks.
Yeah, did you get some? Did you find some?
I think it's time for this.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I played the wrong fucking theme tune, this one.
Freak of the week.
This segment is called Freak of the Week. It's where one of us has bumped into a weird, odd person or people, foreshadowing, and we want to highlight their freakiness. Last week, I think we had a wholesome freak. I think it was last week where I talked about this like weird guy who came into a shoe shop, like acting all fucking just really odd. But did end up buying some shoes. There's nothing wrong with it. It was quite a nice ending. Yeah. This one, not so much, because not all freaks are made equally. So we were taking the train home, and we were there within plenty of time, but some people were a bit late, and there were a group of youths in front of us on the 4-seater sections. Okay. So they were all sat around a table, and we were sat behind them. And they were just kind of like normal youths, 2 girls, two lads. One of them tooted on a vape, and I'm thinking, oh, right, fucking hell. But they were fine mostly. But then these other 2 youths came on, and when I tell you, Judd, they were straight out of a fucking cartoon. They were like, I've never seen anyone so ginger in my life. Like, you're kind of ginger, right? Okay, but these guys had red hair, like red, slightly orange red hair. And it weren't, I promise you could tell it wasn't dyed. They not dyed their hair that colour, because I've never seen hair dye that colour. It was like shocking. It was like, whoa, I've never seen that. It was like, you know the first time you see someone with that skin condition where they've got like dark skin with like white splodges.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, I did not know that could be a thing. Like, it's just shocking. It's like, whoa. It was like, their hair was like that. It was like the first time seeing it, I was like, what this can happen? You can look like that?
I'm picturing Angry Kid. Do you know, have you seen Angry Kid?
They were exactly like Angry Kid. What a fucking reference that is. I'm going to, for the video version of the podcast, I'm going to get Angry Kid up on... images of that. Their hair was genuinely more red than Angry Kid. It's fucking insane. If you don't know what that is, just Google Angry Kid and look up Google Images. It was basically this like... It started off as like a YouTube short of this just like puppet of this... a short YouTube video of this puppet kid who were just like swearing and stuff, and that was the joke. It actually isn't that funny, but I think Amazon's got a TV series of it.
It became a TV series. So I remember watching it.
Did you? What was it like? I didn't ever watch that.
I don't know. I'd probably score it like a 52 on the sheet. I'd probably get a 52.
It's the type of thing that if we go back and watch, I bet it's terrible.
Yeah,
but anyway, they acted like fucking Angry Kid. I'm telling you, they were fucking ridiculous. They were so loud, and when they came on, and immediately they sat down and immediately out loud, FaceTimed someone, and were like shouting like, "Oh yeah, we just had a fight with these. We just had a fight with these. We such and such. I don't know. They said someone's name. I don't know who the fuck it was. just had a fate. And then this guy on the phone like, oh, right, have you? And they were like, no, because it never showed up. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what the fuck? So you just fucking lied. Straight away,
What?
my first impression of you is, what the fuck is on your head? What is that hair?
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
And then second impression is, you just fucking lied to someone, like, to try and act hard, weren't you? And then, oh, God, they turned to the group of 14-years in front of us, and one of them says, oh, is that your bird? And I don't know if he said yeah or no or what. I think one of the girls and the lads was together, but the other two might not have been. I don't fucking know. And then he goes, cause my mate thinks you fit. And then I didn't hear him say anything back. And it's like fucking.
Yeah, how old are you?
I know.
Yeah,
and it's fucking. There's no age where that is ever going to be cool. No age.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're young, like really young, like 8, then that's still scary and embarrassing. And when you're any older than that, it's just extremely embarrassing. So they did that. And at that point, they're just rowdy kids. It's annoying, whatever. Then they start taking pictures of the girls opposite them. They were just
my God.
Taking pictures of them. And, like, technically, there's nothing wrong with that. Technically. It's not illegal, it's not like they were, like, trying to take pictures up the skirt or anything like that. That's fucking awful. They just took some pictures of them, and you're just like, what the fuck? That's weird as fuck. If I were one of them lads with them girls, I'd gone, what the fuck are you doing that for? That's so weird.
I would have smashed the fucking face in. I would have beat the shit out of them.
They looked so punchable. Like, honestly, they looked like right little shits.
Yeah.
The train conductor came down asking for people's tickets, and they were obviously trying to do the thing where you get on and just hope that the conductor don't turn up.
Yeah.
So they had to buy some tickets, and he tried to charge them full price, and he said, "Oh no, I'm only 16." And I was thinking, I think you're younger than that, if anything. But my girlfriend were like, no way, they're 16. And I was thinking, no, I would have thought they were 15. That's like young behaviour to me. But I think, fucking, man, like, you're 16. Like, even that's too old to be acting like that. They were, the people in front of us were like kind of mildly rowdy youths.
Yeah.
But I can totally see that in future they'll grow out of it and they'll probably do all right selling cars somewhere or something, Whereas these two, like...
We've got job markets in the car salesman department. We can always do with more greasy car salesmen.
Yeah.
I love greasy car salesmen. They're one of my favourite types of characters. Anyway,
these lads with the fucking flame heads were like, I'm going to call them the Flamehead brothers, because they were two. They will have been twins. They weren't identical, but they looked like some sort of comedic twin duo from a fucking movie. And I couldn't see them.
They look like Syndrome from
Syndrome, kinda, yes. They were thin, so they weren't like that. But they're going to fucking prison at some point. They're going to do some shit and go to prison because fucking hell.
No, but not even for something cool, like for something stupid.
Yeah,
like something really fucking dumb.
Like getting like off their face on some sort of drug and smashing up someone's car without even knowing they're doing it. Or like, I don't fucking know. And then one of them did it's one of the worst things you can do to annoy people. He starts blaring TikToks out loud for the whole train carriage. It's, man, come on. They weren't even on the train that long. They were only on it 15 minutes. Like, just chat for 15 minutes, or if you have to watch them on mute. Go on Facebook or Twitter or something instead. You don't have to. And full fucking volume. It was full volume. Everyone could hear, and you could tell it weren't even good TikToks. You could tell it were just bullshit. It was just a lot of shite. Oh, and at one point, the other one got kind of bored of looking at his phone. And I don't know then. I couldn't remember the name he was saying. Let's say he was called like Damien. Like the one of them's called Damien. This other guy. Now I might have to say some words that I wouldn't say. But like he was saying, he was like kind of like prodding him and going, "Oh, Damien's gay. Damien's gay. Damien's a F word for gay that I don't know if we're allowed to say
What?
on these
What?
platforms.
Say it.
Rhymes with maggot, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? How are you that
Yeah.
bored within 15 minutes that you have to start, like, accusing someone of being gay, which is fine anyway? It's like, what are you doing? I can't fathom people's lives that are like this. Like, he was fucking 16! At 16, I was touring with a fucking band. Now, I'm not saying everyone can do that, but fuck me, come on! There's life to live! Jesus Christ. They were just shits, right? They were the type of people that Thanos was after, you know? When he was trying to get rid of. So, that's my freak of the week. I don't know.
Well...
I noted them down in my notes as the typical Irish boys, because they might have had a bit of Irish accent, I'm not sure. Yeah. Shout out to Wakefield for being one of the shittest cities I've ever seen in my life, because that's where they were going. But speaking of shitty ginger hair, Judd, it's winter, right? We're trying not to have us heated on too much because we can't. It's extortionate prices, things like that. But we have to dry our clothes. So if we've not got the heating on and we're trying to dry our clothes, we just like leave them out. It takes like 4 days for clothes to dry, and also it means loads of moisture gets in the air in the house, makes walls damp. That causes loads of problems. So trying to figure out another way of drying clothes. And near us, there's a little laundromat thing. It's not like a business necessarily. Well, it is a business, but it's not a specific business. It's not got a building. It's at a petrol station, and outside of this petrol station to the left, there's just some like washing machines and a big dryer that are like bolted down basically, and you pay on a touch screen and you use the washing machines and the dryer. Now we've got a washing machine, we just need to use the dryer. So we scouted it out the other day. How much does it cost? Do we think it'll be good? How big is it? Okay. Yeah, it looks good. £6 for 30 minutes of drying, and it's heated, and we can shove literally as many clothes as we want in it. Brilliant. Right. We come back the next day with loads of washing. We've done a bunch of washing. We're going to slap it in that dryer and get it done with. It's going to be great. We turn up. Oh, shit, I need to send some supporting material for this.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just going to send you on Facebook, Judd, the state of the dryer. I hope it doesn't take too long to send, because I'll bring it up on screen as well for the podcast. This dryer, I don't know what the fuck someone had used this dryer for, but when I tell you, it was covered in hair. Everywhere. All over it. It's almost done sending. I'll bring it up in a sec.
That's one of the worst things, I think. Because, like, why hair? I feel like it leaves so many unanswered questions when it's like hair.
Yeah, and bear in mind, this wasn't the washing machine that was covered in hair. It was the dryer. Like, someone had put something hairy straight into the dryer. So it was just covered in hair. This like short ginger hair. It was all over the fucking thing. Absolutely disgusting. It was them. No, their hair was much brighter than that. But
you'll be able to tell.
Like, if that's me, I thought that it might be some sort of like dog groomers or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? It might be dog hair. I was kind of thinking, if that's me, I would immediately think, oh, fucking hell, I've left loads of hair in this. I'm going to have to get some wipes or something and clean it. You know, I'm going to have to clean it out for the next person to use it.
Yeah.
Who leaves that like that? Thinking about it.
People are just fucking...
That's similar colour hair to your hair, Judd.
Gulp. Gulp. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, officer. Gulp.
But I don't know. It was just fucking gross. So we had to bring all those clothes home and put them all over radiators and stuff like that and damp his house out to shit again because we couldn't use it. We're not going to cover them in hair. I even went into the petrol station that was next door to see if they had some wipes and some rubber gloves. Because I'm thinking, you know what? I might just fucking clean this out just so that we can make sure it's like usable again. Yeah. But we didn't anyway, and luckily it had been cleaned out when I went to use it today. So I managed to get his clothes dry. But I don't know, just thought I'd mention it. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who leaves a fucking hairy dryer?
I'm not surprised at seeing this stuff anymore, because it's like I work on a building site and the fucking states that some of the toilets get left in on there, and it's like there's a woman that like everybody knows the cleaner that has to go in there and clean up those bathrooms. Yeah. But you literally like smear shit on the walls. It's like fucking, it's bizarre.
Oh god, I'm I will admit to being someone who isn't massively careful. No, I'm not massively careful with how tidy I am in certain scenarios where I know someone's employed to clean there. An example would be the movie theatre, right? I know someone cleans that after every screening. So if I spill some popcorn and it like goes in like down the seats in front of me, I might spill like a few pieces of popcorn by accident. I'll think, oh, for fuck's sake, I didn't mean to do that. But I ain't gonna go out my way to then pick it up, because there is someone who's employed to do that. So I know part of my ticket price does count towards that. However, right, that's to a certain extent. If I spilt the entire fucking bucket on the floor, I would scoop up like 90% of it back into the bucket and just like put it in the bin. Like I wouldn't like, for example, like piss all over the floor just because I know someone has to clean the floor in there. That's like, I'm not going to be a dick about it.
I was just going to say, you spit on people as they clean up. You do that. You're known for doing that.
What's the worst thing do you think you've done that someone else has had to clean up? That's not like your family, like at home or something, like when you've been out somewhere.
When we were over at, do you remember? Dad took us to a lady he was dating at the time's house with her two sons, and we got very drunk one night. And I ended up throwing up all over her bathroom.
She deserved it. No, I mean more like some staff. Like, you know, some staff's had to clean up.
I pissed in a chair at school once, but that wasn't on me. I'll straight up look and listen. I'll put my hands in the air and say I'm a pisser. I'm a little pisser. Okay, I know I am, but this one wasn't on me. I straight up was like sat there in like keyboard lessons or some dumb shit, and I needed to piss, and I said to the teacher, I need to go and piss. And for whatever reason, they wouldn't let me go to the toilet to go and piss. So I just sat there and pissed myself. And then I think they like thought like I hate to use the phrase taking the piss, but I think that's what they thought. Like I just wanted to waste time. They thought you were lying
and you wanted to waste some time.
Yeah, but I actually did need to piss, so I just like pissed all over it. And then I saw the cleaner later, and I like felt really bad because I saw him cleaning up my piss.
If that were me, I was so fucking insolent at school. If that were me, I'd have gone, well, I'm doing it anyway. I'd have probably not even said, well, I'm doing it anyway. I'd have probably just got up and gone. I'd have probably skipped the rest of my class because I'd have been so pissed off at him. I'd have got my bag, got all my stuff together, and just gone to the toilet, had a piss, and then gone and sat outside for a while until next class started.
When I was younger, I was like not a very confrontational person at all when I was younger, though. So I was literally the kind of person who literally just sat there and pissed themselves because I was told I couldn't go to the toilet.
Accidentally pissed a school chair then. What school year would you have been in when you did that?
No, this was in primary school. Like I was saying,
right, okay, yeah, mine too. Yeah. No, mine was the fucking first day of secondary school.
Oh damn!
I've told this story before, but I don't know why. The first class of the first day of secondary school, I didn't feel like I needed a toilet at all, and for some reason, out of nowhere, I just started pissing. Couldn't stop it. Just piss was just going. I don't know why. But anyway,
that's freaky. That'd freak me out. I'd start screaming. I'd start screaming in the middle of class.
If you want to, you would be known for eternity as the pisser, as the little pisser. I can't believe I was still a huge loser. I can't believe I managed to avoid being known as the little pisser the entire school year.
That is crazy that you did. When then. you weren't just then like pegged as the pisser. But
God, well,
So
pissing and being
imagine,
pegged
like-
is a different thing, Judd. But
well. Just the first day of fucking school, you'd like there, and like you hear someone screaming at like the back of your class, and you like whip your head around, and they're just like pissing uncontrollably and screaming.
Oh dear. Oh, but yeah, if you want to know the full story of that, you'll have to go back and listen to all the other podcasts that we've done. 157 of them, I think. Up to before
Nice.
this one, so you have to listen to all of those. They're around an hour 15 long, so it'll take you like maybe 180 hours or something like that. But you know, get on it. Come on, chop. You can pause
Okay.
this one, do all that straight. Obviously, why would you want to take any breaks and then just come back to finish this one?
Look, if the entire population of Seattle can do it, then you can do it as well.
Yeah, I mean they do. We can prove it.
Yeah.
We can't prove it.
We're like Kim Jong Un over there. They've got like big billboards of us.
Oh god, niche inside joke references. See, this is why you need to subscribe and follow the podcast so that you understand all the stupid shitty jokes that we've got, because then there'll be your jokes as well. See, that's how it's done. Come
Don't
on,
use
get
my
involved.
jokes, we'll sue.
Don't use such. Look, and so for the back half of this podcast, right, you're gonna have to indulge me, listeners, and also Judd. Far Cry
Christ.
6. This is a game I want to talk about, okay? Because what the fuck is going on with Far Cry 6, Judd?
What's going on with Far Cry? I think at this point,
Yeah,
like
what are
what's
they doing?
happening?
Like,
In fact, you know what? What's happening with EA? What's going on, EA? It's
Far
EA,
Cry
right?
isn't
Oh,
EA,
it's
Far Cry is Ubisoft.
Oh, it's Ubisoft. I know,
Ubisoft
you know
is
what? They're on the
generally my
radar as
favourite
well.
game makers. They make Assassin's Creed, probably my favourite game series of all time. Far Cry was, but now I'm feeling a bit
Yeah.
Star Warsy with Far Cry now. When I say that, I mean as in, I don't consider myself a fan of Star Wars anymore. If any new Star Wars stuff comes out, I don't even give it a chance. I'm done with Star Wars at this point. It's like that new Andor series. People have been raving about that. It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah,
Too
I
late.
might,
They fucked it.
I might try Andor, just mainly because like I feel like I need something to watch now with my nan and
Yeah, what's
granddad.
the
Like we
point?
haven't watched something together, so
You'll just watch something else that's not Star Wars. Then get a different thing, because fucking Star Wars is like an abusive ex-boyfriend, right? Or an ex-girlfriend, or an ex-non-binary penguin. I don't know how it works, but So I'm feeling Star Warsy with the Far Cry series now, in that it's like it's teetering on the edge of me giving up on that series. If they come out with Far Cry 7, right, and it's as bad as this one, I will probably, it'll be a coin flip as to whether I'm gonna play any more in that series. I bought this game for £12. When did it come out?
not too long
Cry
ago. Did it
6
come out this year?
Release date. It came out basically an entire year ago, 7th of October 2021. So it's a year old. So it should be pretty good. But a game that's a year old doesn't normally drop from £60 to £70 down to £12.
No,
Unless people don't like it.
Yeah.
I did get it on a Black Friday sale, but it was only down from £15. So listen, right? Far Cry is such a great concept. Open world, first person shooter, kind of dramatic culture settings and things like that. Storytelling at its core. Really cracking story that's not over the top, but quite extreme. And not like supernatural, still realistic, but like really cool and interesting characters.
It does have spiritual elements to it, though, a lot, doesn't it? A lot of the
Well,
time.
it does,
like,
but
some
not
sort of-
like... It's
But that
sometimes
usually-
it's presented supernaturally, but it's not like what's actually happening isn't supernatural.
No, specifically not supernaturally, like spiritual. Like
religion.
and it's usually well, no, because it's spiritual a lot in the sense of like spiritual in that sort of culture where that Far Cry is taking place at the time. Like, you know, in Far Cry 4, it was a lot of sort of like I believe it was like Hindu sort of inspired spiritualism, because
Probably
it was
Buddhism.
Was it
Probably, because it was in
know,
Tibet. Well, this is the other
okay.
thing with Far Cry games. They're not set in a specific country, are they? They're set in
they can be
a place
anywhere.
that is kind of base. It's not parodying another place. It's what you would call pastiching, I think. As in, Far Cry 3 isn't set in South Africa, I don't believe, but it is. If that makes sense.
Like,
technically, it's not, but it may as well be.
Karat isn't a real place, but it's enough of a real place to be like,
Yeah, so Far Cry 4 is meant to be Tibet, but it's not actually.
Or we can make it closer to home and say that Eden's Gate, that whole place in Far Cry 5 isn't a real place in like America, but you feel like you're in some sort of place in Southern America, yeah.
Yeah, so Far Cry 6 is South America. Like, I would say Brazil as an example, or it could be any Argentina, something like that. So that's that. That's one of my first problems with it, though.
I don't like South America.
I just hate South Americans. No, that's not what it is. It's not what it is. The problem is they've got a bunch of over-the-top shit in it that's like comedically over-the-top. Sometimes you would have over-the-top, extra dramatic characters in Far Cry that was something that made it good. But when I've got like a cool Mexican old fucking mercenary dude who makes over-the-top weapons that you strap to your back. That's Just Cause. You've made Far Cry into Just Cause. Stop it. Stop it. Stop making it funny. It's not a funny game. Stop it. We're not making Just Cause. Fucking stupid thing. I hate that. The only times I use these over-the-top fucking things that it wants me to use is when it forces me to, when you have to use them. Otherwise, I'm like, I'm not using that shit. It takes me right out of the kind of emotion of the game. Speaking of taking stuff out that's stupid, you can't manually save. Like in fucking Skyrim. Skyrim's a perfect example. Yeah. You do save. You manually save at that point, and it saves that exact snapshot of where you are. Then you can go and murder a whole village and just load up your save because you don't actually want your character to do that. But it's fun to just let.
But Gregor in the end just looked at you real funny, and now you want to kill the whole village. Yeah, no, I understand. I played Bethesda games.
Yeah, so it's that type of thing, and you had that in Far Cry. So you could manually save before you went into like an area. Because there's certain areas that in previous Far Cry games that you would take over, right? You would kill all the enemies in there, and you take over that, and then your faction would get a bunch of resources and a place you can fast travel to, things like that. And you would do a manual save before one of those so that you can stealth it, and you get extra reward if you defeat that place with stealth. Now, for starters, that's not great, because what if you don't want to play stealth? You're not going to get as many rewards. So my system idea for that would be, if you defeat it loudly with a bunch of explosives and shit, you get a different material as a reward than if you would do it stealth. So that kind of evens that out a bit. But in this, there's no manual saves at all. There isn't any. So you can't do that. It means stealth and things like that is much less fun, because if you then get caught, you can't just load your save back up and try again. You have to get yourself killed, and then who knows where it's going to bring you back to. I had a point where I was trying to stealth this place, and it got me killed, and then it sent me all the way back 2,000 meters away. So I had to get another plane, I had to fly it all the way there, I had to try and make sure I could land the plane somewhere else where they didn't detect where the plane was, then I had to try and stealth it again, and every time I got caught, I had to do that like 4 times. Why would you take that option out?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because the thing is, in previous games, if you were in the middle of a mission, if you were in the middle of like actively doing something, there were certain scenarios where you couldn't save, like in the middle of combat, for example. You can't save in the middle of combat, because then if you reload it, you might get accidentally caught in a loop of dying all the time or something like that. So it was fine before. And it was a big part of what made it so much fun. In open world games, that's just a good thing. Fucking stupid. Oh god, the biggest part, Far Cry, right? They even know how important their villains are, don't they? Like,
well, that started to be the draw, didn't it? Because of Vars, and then they followed it up with Pagan, who was like, I personally, because he hits Anisha fill-in for me, I like him more than Fars, but if you
I
were
like
to
him
argue
more
the other
too.
way, it's well, whatever. I
But
didn't
only by a
ask.
tiny bit. By a tiny bit.
Yeah, I love him. I love him. But if you said Fars was, but both of them are fantastic, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And then Joseph Seed.
In
what
Far
did
Cry
you think
5,
of-
Joseph Seed fucking sucks. He is not threatening at all. He's like, shut the fuck up. He's just like an annoying, stupid little petulant child. It pisses me off. He's not interesting. He's not fun to experience. And do you know what? He's fucking better than the one in Far Cry 6. Fuck me. How bad can you get a villain? He's so boring. He's so dull.
He's Gus Fring. He's
That's
Gus
a bad
Fring from the
thing!
baking
That's even
bread.
worse. That's another point I've got. Don't put real people in your fucking game. Stop it. Stop it. Bad. I can understand if the real person that's in your game is actually who they are in real life. So Tony Hawk games, Tony Hawk's in his game as Tony Hawk. Makes fucking sense, right? But the actor who plays the main villain in this Far Cry game, he's playing the villain. He's not playing himself. He's not the actor who's in this. But do you know what? That would be fucking stupid as well. Why is Danny Trejo in my game? Because they did that too.
Danny
They did
Trejo's
both.
just in-
They messed up in both ways. It's like, come on.
No,
it's so
but dude,
easy.
you don't get it. Danny Trejo is South American, so he has to be in the game.
Fucking dumb. The villain he sucks. He sucks so bad. They even did a DLC where you play as villains' perspectives. They know what they're doing. They know that people love the villains so much. I still think that's a stupid idea. Stop overhamming your villains, similar to how Borderlands is now doing that with Handsome Jack.
Yeah.
But this guy sucks. The main reason to play a Far Cry game is to build up a hatred for what these people are doing and subjugating their lands and stuff like that. I just don't give a shit.
I also feel like Fars and Pagan had such real reasons for ending up the way that they did. Like, Vars was.
I've not finished Far Cry 6, by the way, so don't spoil anything.
Okay, I won't. But like, I'll say about Joseph then, because I don't feel like Joseph had a real reason either. But because like Vars was brought up in this sort of like pirate lifestyle of having to fight for himself all the time. If you read into like the comics and stuff as well, I feel like his sister pressured him into doing a lot of stuff as well. That's why he hated his sister so much. And fucking Pagan was the ruler of this country, and he was all right for the start until this terrorist cell, the Golden Path, murdered his wife and his daughter, his young daughter, and that sent him fucking loopy. So I feel like both of them had such real reasons for going the way that they did.
And real enough to the point where you could almost join them as well, in that the reasons why they're doing it is actually trying to stop an actual bad thing happening. Like Pagan, for example, he's overly subjugating his land to the point where everyone's downtrodden, to the point where no one has any ability to dare to come rise up.
But it's funny you say that, though, because actually, and this is spoilers, big spoilers for Far Cry 4, that's what Pagan wants. He actually wants you to take over, doesn't he? He's actually the reason why he wanted RJ there in the first place was to take over Karat, because he was like sick of it, and I think he kind of knew that he was like being a cunt as well, but he didn't care so much about that.
So dynamic, complex, interesting characters with reasons to like them sometimes, but mostly you want to fucking slaughter them for all the friendly characters that you've managed to form bonds with, brutal and horrible emotional deaths. And speaking of that as well, by the way, what is it with the like cutscenes in Far Cry 6? They feel different. Like, you know, the cutscenes in Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4, I think it's because a lot of it was from a first-person perspective still.
Yeah.
It felt intense, and like things were on you, like they were like on top of you, that like were potentially bad and happening, and emotions were like right in your face that you had to deal with. In this, it feels like a shitty sitcom or something. It feels like you're watching like a dull movie. Like, you know that fucking, what's that one that's just come out with Channing Tatum in?
I don't know.
Tatum
I was
movie.
I was gonna say
The
it's
Lost
like
City.
watching. Yeah, fair enough. I was actually gonna say it's like watching a talking cat. I don't know why that's
Talking
the first one that came into my. But,
I
yeah.
was picking that one because it's still in like a jungle setting, but you know, it's like watching like a. Oh, do you know the Jumanji reboot with the
Yeah.
Rock in? It's like watching that.
It's just got no soul, no real soul to it. It's just.
It's
all...
more of a subtle thing that I don't know how they've kind of messed with that and got wrong. But just back to the villain again for a second. At the start of this game, I swear to God, you were banging on about how they're growing tobacco that like cures cancer or some shit.
Yeah, they've got a special type of plant that like cures cancer.
So does it then, or what? Because like,
no,
why do we hate him then?
I don't think it did. I don't think it. I think was the.
So why are we? Why is he
It
saying
even-
that at the
it
beginning
even-
of my game? Why
it
is he
did.
even trying to
It
claim
did.
that?
It
What?
even did. I think maybe it did, but like. It like fucked you up in other ways. Like it's like okay, yeah, so it actually does cure cancer, but the things that you're replacing the cancer with are far worse.
So let me say this then. Judd's played this entire game, and he says, "I think it did, but might have messed you up."
Yeah,
so he doesn't even know.
Yeah, I didn't rate this game very high.
So so what the fuck? The whole premise of this fucking game is like, I think this has happened. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's just like gives you some stupid loose thing, makes this guy obviously the bad guy who you're supposed to be fighting, and goes, right, okay, revolution, ha ha ha. No, what if he's, I don't know that he's a bad guy. What I've seen so far is the people I'm with have killed a lot of people. Now, he's claiming to have the cure for cancer. Who looks like the bad guy right now?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on? It's just so dumb, and like, that's another thing. What am I doing? I know I'm like freeing Yara, but like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing this whole time? What am I recruiting people? Am I? Because she's not actually explicitly said that, the leader of this resistance.
Yeah.
What do the outposts do? If I like, that there's like borders, there's like checkpoints in there, like border checkpoints that you can liberate and bring to your side. Well, why? Why am I doing that? Does that help the war? Does it not? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Like, what's going on? Another thing, how do I get stuff? How do I get materials and things? Because I'm looking at my guns, I'm like, oh, I can add attachments that makes my guns better and things like that. I need gunpowder and circuits. Okay, right. Does someone tell me how to get that? Maybe? Or am I gonna have to Google it like I always have to do? Like, why am I having to Google this shit? You know? Like, I'm having to Google, where do I get circuit boards? Where do I get gunpowder? Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Once you've Googled it, it's not the worst to figure out, but...
Yeah.
Like, how do I get stuff? Another thing, like, this is another weird... There's a lot of smaller, subtle weird things as well that add up a lot. Why... Sometimes you'll go to, like... You'll recruit another faction to your liberation effort or something... It's not quite like that. I don't think that's quite what you're doing. It's a bit different than doing that, but just for simplicity, you'll recruit another faction to your revolution effort, and when you go to their like camp, it goes into third person mode.
Yeah.
Why?
I know, it's just a thing, innit? It's just like, what? Why now?
It makes the movement clunkier, and it makes it really awkward to like zoom in and out of what you do. Why? I don't need to see third-person mode.
I feel like you're pulling us out of it as well when you do that. It's like if you're gonna have the game be third person, just have it be third person. It's like you're setting us up. You know what? I feel stupid. Like I have to say this, but it feels like you don't get it. You know that's a storytelling thing, right? I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to you, Ubisoft, since we're going to listen to this podcast. But that's a storytelling element. You're either telling it from a first person story perspective or a third person story perspective. So if you're having a game where you're doing it from a first person perspective, then the goal is to have the audience feel as if they're in that first person perspective. That's the goal. To then have a mechanic where you go, whoop, sucked right outfit, now you're in third person. This is you're separate from the whole thing. it's not like an important thing to throw you out at because you're just fucking around in camp, but you
Yeah.
are throwing us out of it. It's just weird. It's why?
It's like, what are you doing? They've had to
Yeah,
explicitly
yeah.
put time into making that a thing that can happen. Just don't do it. Like, there's
Yeah.
no advantage to it. There's not
Yeah.
that much disadvantage, but you've had to put time and effort into that, and it's only been worse. And there's stuff like that a lot of the time as well. I think a big problem is something that I don't quite like as much about Borderlands 3. This has been drastically worse more. So, in Far Cry 4, you might get a phone call or something, and it'll be from one of the characters that you're connected with. They're interesting. You feel like you've got a connected effort, and you know what you're all doing and heading towards. You can see the path of what you're supposed to be doing. To be fair, you could kind of see that in Far Cry 5 a bit. The characters weren't quite as good, and there were annoying interruptions and all sorts of other problems, but at least you could see the path. In this, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. I don't know what the path is. I don't know what the end goal is. I don't know what the path is to get there. I don't know what I'm doing. And the characters, they're shit. I've not come across a single character that I like in this game. They're just shit. They're either caricatures or annoying or bland. There's no one I like. The best character is fucking Chorizo, because that's a fantastic name for a dog without its hind legs working and got a little wheelchair, right? Like, I don't like the character because it's a dog, and we have a policy on this channel of we don't like dogs.
It's bad as well. You know, it's bad when because you know what they were doing as well. Then it was like, let's make a little tiny disabled dog so that the people will love the dog and therefore love the game.
Yeah, and
that is what they were doing.
Yeah, and I don't like that. The thing is, they chose to call it Chorizo. And like, you nailed the name though. The name for the dog's fantastic. But the thing is, there's so many stupid phone calls telling you about bollocks that don't matter. Tell me about stuff that does matter. I don't know what's going on. What are we doing here? And they'll call you up and tell you, I like eating crocodile meat with my smoking a cigar. And, shut up. Yeah. I don't give a fuck. Like, why have you got all these phone calls interrupting what I'm doing all the time? And I know that it hangs up the phone if you're doing something important, but every so you'll get a phone call like, Danny, I want to tell you about this thing. And I go, because then I'm doing something.
Listen,
was that important?
I'm dying. I am overdosing on black tie heroin, Danny. Send chorizo.
That's funny because it seems like that's what they do to solve their scenarios, is send the disabled dog.
Just send the
that's
dog.
What they do. It's fucking hell.
Yeah.
The first speaking of fucking that dog, the amigos and like
speaking of fucking that dog.
Why would you ever choose to make your whole game an escort quest by having these amigos with you? This isn't the first game to introduce this, by the way. But I hate that. I never have them with me.
Yeah, I never have them with me, ever.
I thought about putting that on this list of complaints, but you can just dismiss them instantly. Although, I did have... Oh, it is on this list, actually. I did have a scenario where every so often, the first amigo kind of companion you get would just come every so often. It just turn up again. I'm like, no, dismiss, go away.
I got that as well. They'd just be there sometimes.
And why? Why, man? This is meant to be a fairly serious game. Why is the first two companions you get a crocodile with a football shirt and a sausage dog in a wheelchair? What the fuck are we doing here? Why would you even have a crocodile as a companion anyway? No, it's just not realistic. Stop it.
It's not. They didn't. No, it was Volition. Who made fucking Saints Row?
Volition, is it?
Yeah. I was starting to think. I wonder if it was Ubisoft, but it wasn't. It was Volition, because they've done the Saints Row thing where they focused on the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
The reasons why we liked 3 and 4 were for these open world sort of. They weren't survival really, but it was these stories of men sort of like who grew up in sort of, well, at least 3 and 4 or 1 and 2 were more sort of like the Call of Duty thing, but it was these men who grew up in sort of very Western sheltered lives. Like Jason Brody started off as your typical American fratty douche.
Yeah.
He was literally the perfect of that, which was perfect, because then by the end of it, you actually felt like the jungle had actually changed him.
Yeah.
Like he really was now like a completely different changed man. RJ was a lot more on the reserve side, so you didn't see that change as much. But
that's a different kind of change in that he had to change from a normal sheltered civilian who was scared of stuff to one who was a fucking badass.
Yeah. So.
And it's these stories that have these amazing stories with interesting gameplay that was like solid. It was solid. It was thought out, and it was.
Yeah,
you could tell it was lovingly crafted,
so,
like it was done specifically, you know.
So that was one reason, but also, like we said, was for the villains. But I feel like they focused on the villains part too much, in a sense that they're trying to make them, instead of being character studies, they're making them caricatures. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it does.
Instead of it being this, because Vars was a shouty man. He was hi, I'm a shouty man, and which is fair enough. But he was a very interesting shouty man. He was it was cool to analyze what made Vars a shouty man. Pagan, this is why I say that they nailed it so much with fucking Pagan, because he felt so reserved, and he felt like he was just dripping with fucking character and dripping with drip, because he was dripped as fuck. but then you went into Far Cry 5, and then you had Joseph, who was like, he just felt like a crazy religious guy.
He was just a snivelling little bitch. They were just. Do you know what though? He got a little bit redeemed for me in Far Cry New Dawn. He's a way better character in New Dawn than he was in 5.
Yeah, I didn't really play it.
And that's kind of to do with the dynamic of his son being there and things. I don't know if that's actually spoilers. But
probably, but
he's a lot better in New Dawn. Way better.
Yeah.
But
now you've got, what the fuck is he called? What is he? I mean, he's Gus.
I don't know.
Gus
he's
Fring.
Gus. He's Gus in my
Gus
head.
Fring.
Anton.
Gus
I know he's called Anton because I've got a skin on my gun that says "fuck Anton" in massive letters.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. That's so.
But he's just a comically villainous sort of South American dictator. He's got no real. This isn't spoilers, but there's not. I don't think there's anything, or if there is, it matters so little that I've forgotten. It's had nothing that's made me go, "Oh, okay, that's why he's a piece of shit." It's just a piece of shit, and it felt that way with Joseph Seed as well. It's like he was just like, God's telling me to do it. It's like, that's such a lame fucking excuse.
Yeah.
God tell me to do it.
It might be a lame excuse that someone might take, but it don't make for a good character. It's boring. It's fucking stupid. But speaking of New Dawn, I thought they were going back to a decent direction with New Dawn. They had some interesting characters. There were these twins that I fucking hated and wanted to see them murdered. But by the end of New Dawn, it was like you understood them more, and kind of like, as one of these twins is bleeding out and like dying and explaining how her sister's going to be left behind, but she understands how you had to kill her because this is the way that it's like, fucking hell, I actually feel a little bit bad. It's not going to stop me. I'm going to blow your fucking brains out because I hate you. But like, I feel bad for doing it at this point. But so even that, they went back in the right direction. They redeemed Joseph Seed a bit. They added some features that I really love. It was these kind of missions that you would trigger, and it would put you in a different area. Like, it weren't the main open world map, it'd take you to another map where you basically had, it was basically like one of those outpost missions where you can do it with stealth or you can go loud or whatever. And you got some special resources from it to then be able to get fancier attachments for your guns. Made a lot of sense, it were a lot of fun. You could do them on different difficulties where there was more enemies and more detection for even more rewards. Sounds like a solid, tried and true type of thing, but they added that, and it made sense tying into the story as to why you would be doing that, because you had to do one to start with to get something that the story needed. Now, in Far Cry 6, they've got that, but they don't tell you. They don't tell you it's there. Does it tie into the story at all, like the other one did? I don't know. Maybe. It's not explained at all. Is it just for fun? How do I access these things? Like what? And then I'm looking up how I get certain materials to do certain things, And they're like, oh, that's what those missions, you do those missions. I'm like, oh, do you? Okay, thanks, internet. How did you figure that out? Because the game doesn't fucking tell you. Like, I know I've played the previous games, but there's like, if I was a new person coming into this series on Far Cry 6, I would give up within an hour. I wouldn't fucking have a clue. And it's like they've tweaked them to just be a bit more shit, these missions. And they've tried to adapt them, to these types of missions, to be like co-op, so you can find other people to do with them online. You can connect to people online. And they've got, like, once you do one, there's a queue to do another one, and people vote on the other. It's a bit like matchmaking in old school Call of Duty games.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not what this game is. Stop it. There's a lot of, it's not, I suppose it's not that bad, that one, because you can still do them once you've figured it out, but there's a lot of more smaller things that I have a problem with. The graphics, Judd. When you did you play it on PC?
I played it on PC, yeah.
And when you download it, it gives you an option for the HD graphics package. Did you download that?
I can't remember. I've no idea. Maybe.
Well, it's another 10 gigabytes, by the way. So that's
Maybe
quite
not.
a bit. I downloaded it. My computer at this point, it's pretty fucking good. It's got a 3080 in it. So I've got the HD texture pack, and I've got everything on full.
You've got the Minecraft texture pack.
Yeah, I have. And I've got all the settings on full. What I will say is a big positive about that is the game is optimized very nicely for PC. It runs fantastic. But some graphics are really good looking. Looks great. I won't say, but not that great. I've seen better from slightly older games, but they look plenty good to complain about. But there's like some, for some reason, every so often, there's some graphics that look fucking awful. Like, actually terrible. Like, I was playing this one mission, and everything looks great, looks fine, and there's some smoke from this, like, crashed helicopter or something that's part of the story of the mission. It's not like a random helicopter that's crashed.
Yeah.
So they could specifically put that smoke there and make it good looking if they wanted. And it looked fucking awful. It looked gross. I'm thinking, why does that specifically look terrible? And it's same with
something that should be like a pre-scripted scene as well. That should just look good.
Well, it weren't quite that. It was something that was like part of a mission. So I was actually controlling the character and things. But speaking of the pre-scripted scenes, they look terrible.
Yeah.
Have you seen the graphics on it? They look.
No,
crap.
I know. I played it. It was fucking.
I don't understand how the cutscene graphics that should look great look worse than the gameplay. Like, I know I've got a good computer and I'm running it on the top graphics settings, but your pre-rendered cutscenes should be better than your gameplay. If that's not the case, use the gameplay engine from a first-person perspective, so it feels like you're up close and personal. But that's what the old games did. See, you fucking idiots! Yeah. Another thing.
I was about to use Cyberpunk as an example then, but I was like, wait a second, you did it!
You already did it! You got it right! Why are you making it worse? Another thing that they've got rid of, there was skill trees in previous ones, right? Far Cry 4, I remember, is a great example, right? Stuff like being able to jump on top of someone and do a stealth melee kill from above, right? That's something you could unlock. Another thing, if you approach someone, do a stealth melee kill, you can pull the enemy's throwing knife out of the belt and throw it at someone close, so you kind of get 2 free stealth kills for the price of 1. This was great. It felt like you were progressing and unlocking newer abilities to deal better with the harder points of the game. You've just got it all from the start of this. Yeah. The only thing that gets better is your guns can do more damage as you level up. It's arbitrary. You just level up and you do more damage. And you can, and with collecting more materials, you can get better attachments from which to do better. But the thing is, you could get all the best guns and attachments in the game at the start of the game if you want. Like, right at the start of the game. So there's no reason to level your skills up or anything like that. There's no progression. It feels like you're supposed to be this orphan who is military trained, but that's another thing. It starts off military trained.
No, I know. That's the thing, because it's like, the reason why there isn't this skill tree mechanic is because, like I said, 3 and 4, even were character studies for the main characters as well, and that's what those skill progressions were. There was a literal physical representation of it on Jason Brody with his tattoo.
Yeah.
That developed the more he got skills to literally show
There's
him
none of
develop
that. Nothing cool like that
changing
in
into
this.
this other person. Which you could say, well, maybe there are some good reasons for you to just start off with all of the stuff, so you can just have more playability at the start. But I've always
that's not good though. That's not
Yeah,
good. Because what's the point? What's the point in continuing playing then? I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what the story is. I don't know how I'm going to get there. There's nothing to progress with my character. I've just already got it all unlocked. What's the point? I know they're going to do it then. Because he's this badass, and it's like, there's no point. Another thing I don't like, Judd, the waypoint system in it. Sometimes it makes you search for things that you might need in a certain area. It might be quite a big area you have to search in, and it shows you the area on your map. But that can be really annoying and difficult to find what you want sometimes. And often what it does is, after a while of you searching, it'll then show you the exact location. But that's the worst way of doing that. That's the worst way of doing that, because there's two types of people who like different systems within games like this. There's people who want to spend time looking for real-world clues that actively tell them where something is, and they actually want to have to search for it within that area. Now, if you're that type of person, you don't get enough time to fucking find it, because it spoils it for you and tells you exactly where it is before you've managed to actually figure it out for yourself. The other type of person is me, who wants to be babied and show where everything is exactly so I can get on with it, so I can actually enjoy the story and not have it stalled all the time. That doesn't work for those either, because then I'm having to search around like, oh, is it here? Is it here? Oh, it's finally shown me. Fucking hell, that took ages. So it doesn't work for anyone. So if you're going to do that, just pick one. Just make it one or the other. For me, I would hate it if I had searched for everything, but at least you're pleasing some people, probably most people.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I can't excuse this ever since I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because just make it a setting. Just make it a setting on your fucking game then. They did it. How hard can it be? Just make it a setting. Do you want your handhold? Do you want things shown specifically? Or do you want to have to search for them with real-world clues? Just do it. Because you've obviously got the ability to make it both, because it automatically switches to one at some point. Fucking bullshit. Another little detail that shows how little care they've taken on this. There's an FOV slider. I don't think you get this on console versions, but you can choose your field of view. Basically, how wide angle the kind of first-person camera is. I like this. I'm used to having quite a wide field of view for playing competitive shooter games. What's really annoying is when you get on a horse, it zooms right back in. It zooms in so much you can't see what you're doing, and that's really awkward as well, because especially if you're using a mouse, that changes how your sensitivity applies as well when your field of view zoomed in so much. So I think it's not just on a horse, it's on all sorts of different vehicles, but it's not the same. It's not like, I don't think it zooms in the same when I'm riding a helicopter as a horse. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's completely inconsistent. And speaking of inconsistency within vehicles, the mouse sensitivity changes depending on what vehicle you're in. So I've set my mouse sensitivity for what's best for shooting, and then I get on a horse, and I think the horse is slightly similar actually, but the car, it's like different when you're turning. The worst is the fucking helicopter. The sensitivity in the helicopter when I'm trying to turn it round, I'm swinging my mouse round and round and round. It's so slow. Why?
Yeah, I remember
same.
that. Yeah.
What's gone on there? Is that just a bug?
Weird.
What the fuck? Another thing that I think they used to have that they've changed, when you open the weapon wheel to change weapons. For me, I like to only use the weapon wheel exclusively on these sorts of games, because I use the number keys for other things. So I can't pull my sidearm out with number 4 because I heal with number 4. So I like to use the weapon wheel. Now, if I'm using the weapon wheel and I'm about to be detected, I'm like, oh shit, I need to switch to my silenced weapon and shoot them really quick before they detect me. Can't do that because it doesn't slow down time. Like, often in games, when you open a weapon wheel, it either stops or slows down time of the game. This doesn't do it. So I can't use a weapon wheel because I can't pull out guns quickly with it. So it's like, it's a small thing that some people might prefer, some people might not, but just like, why? You know?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was there in other games, was it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember, but it should slow down time anyway. I know it doesn't in this one. Another thing that they've changed that's just worse, the healing system. What do you think about that?
What was the healing system this time round?
So the healing system this time is you press the healing button and it heals you to full. Just heals you to full, right? And you get 2 tries of doing that. Okay, that's it. You've got 2 of those, and that's just how it works. And then you regenerate amount of times you can try, as well as regenerating your health. When you're not in combat, obviously, when you're getting hit, it'll pause, and then you'll regenerate more health. But it'll constantly regenerate how much healing capability you've got. In previous games, it used to be that you could collect syringes. I think it was up to 4 or 5. I'm not sure. The syringes would heal you to full.
It was depending on how many spaces you had, depending on the upgrade of your syringe pack.
Yeah, but you can't fucking upgrade shit in this game, so...
No, you can't. Not in this one.
So it used to be that you could have those and they would heal you to full. And you had to actively collect them. They were a thing you would pick up. Like, you would pick up medicine in the game and it'd give you another syringe pack to heal you to full.
Or you could, like, craft them.
Or you could craft them. You can pick up medicine in this game. It's not to heal you, though. It's not to be used as,
just to sell.
fucking medicine. You just sell it! What the fuck? What the fuck, Judd?
It's just all backwards, innit? It's all, or it's just backwards.
The other thing with it in previous games was if you had run out of syringes, you could heal yourself still, but only a little bit. So you never automatically regenerate health, but you could like pluck like bullets out of your arm and shit and tape them up and things like that. And it'd heal like a quarter, and you could do that every so often. So that system was great. Why have they changed it? There's no one's complained about that, surely.
No.
Right, get ready for this one, Judd. This is basically my last one.
Oh God, what?
Why the fuck is Stranger Things in my Far Cry game? What is it doing there? Why is Stranger Things in my Far Cry game?
Sorry, when?
There's an entire fucking hour and a half long side mission that is literally Stranger Things. I'm not saying it was so similar to Stranger Things that it was weird. It literally fucking licensed logo and everything. Stranger Things is in my game. Why is Stranger Things in my game? Stop it. Demogorgons and everything. I went into the fucking upside down of Yara. What are you doing? Stop it. Why was the hot dog there as well? Why was the fucking sausage dog in a wheelchair kidnapped by a Demogorgon? Why did I have to do that? What are you doing?
Honestly, was this a mission?
It was a side mission, and it's not only that, it's one of the first fucking side missions you get as well. I don't know if somehow I've got some extra DLC. I maybe have, but I'm pretty certain I just downloaded the standard edition. Why the fuck is this in my game? What the fuck are you doing? I've got so many problems with this. For starters, we're in like a South America setting, and for some reason, you turn up to this, because there's some of your men that's gone missing. You turn up to this fucking port or whatever, and find this weird TV, and we're like, what the fuck is that? You start fiddling with the knobs, and it goes, boom, and then you've got a voice. It's killing me. You've got a voice in your head of a Russian lady. As soon as, at this point, I didn't know it was Stranger Things. I was thinking, what's this supernatural bullshit? Because even that would be annoying.
Yeah.
It directs you to go to this Russian bunker that's somewhere. Why the fuck is there a Russian bunker in my Brazil replica? Stop it. No.
Russian bunkers, man.
It wouldn't be there. So you turn up and fucking Chorizo's licking in a fucking dead body. And we're like, and Danny, the main character's even like, Chorizo, why are you here? That's the question I want answered. Why is the dog done a whole trek and found a Russian bunker somehow? It's so dumb. And then you see like this fucking weird hand on the roof, and at this point I'm thinking, oh my god, are they doing aliens? Is this like some sort of weird alien that I'm going to interact with? And then main character looks up and it's an actual Demogorgon. It's not like, don't just look like one, it genuinely just is, it's one. It straight up is one.
Yeah.
Right? So then you go into, you get knocked out or some shit. You go further into the, you get your weapons taken from you, all that shite. Go further into the bunker and go to these screens, and you see this fucking Russian woman. And you're like, oh, I've not got any weapons or anything like that. I've got to save Chorizo. How am I gonna do this? Well, she was basically saying, oh, we gotta blow up this base to stop them getting back through.
Mind.
She was like, we gotta destroy this base, stop any monsters getting back through. And you were like, first I need to save Chorizo from them, and then we can blow it up. And she's like, oh, fine. What do you mean fine? No, leave the disabled hot dog. Don't stop it for a start. And sorry, I gave myself a break. And then he's like, oh well, I'm gonna need some weapons. They took mine. First, why though? They didn't. I could just use my weapons.
Who? The Demogorgons?
No, the Russians.
Oh, the Russians.
And then she's like, well, let me see what I can do about that. And she uses her 11 Stranger Things powers, because she's number 6, by the way, out of them.
She's number 6.
Pretty sure there was a number 6 in that testing center that 11 fucking killed as part of the story, but... Okay. That's already bad, right? So he's like, I need some weapons. He's like, oh, well, let me see what I can do about that. And she fucking teleports a weapons crate to you.
Nice.
Fucking teleports with her brain. That's not a power that they have. That's not a power. That's not what they do. That's not. No. So not only are you ruining my Far Cry series with your Stranger Things adaptation, you're ruining fucking Stranger Things Lore 2. Fucking hell. So they give you some shitty weapons. They actually are fucking terrible as well. You have to go into the Upside Down and fucking fight your way through to rescuing Chorizo. And you can tell that they didn't want to have to come up with some more animations and character models of like Upside Down villains, because they're just like retextured humans with like glowy eyes. And they're using like spades and shit rather than guns. It's like fucking lazy. Like they did do the Demogorgon, to be fair, and animated that, but it's barely there. So it's a bit annoying that I actually kind of enjoyed this bit because it was already silly, the game, and now at least Stranger Things silly as well. But it fucking ruins the whole shit. So I don't know, man. You get a cool gun from it that's covered in slime. Got a fire shot.
Slime gun.
I already got a better one now.
I gotta say, it doesn't get better. At the end, in fact, you're gonna have one more major complaint about this game when you finish it.
You know that boy that's the main villain's son? Is he Loki somehow? Just like in God of War. Is that what it is? Am I gonna get pissed off
right at the end after you shoot his dad in his big fucking stupid Gus Fring face, he turns around to you and goes, by the way, the giants, they called me Loki.
Fucking hell.
And then he goes, a tale for another time, perhaps.
God, Danny Trejo takes over.
Danny Trejo's supposed to say it's
Fucking hell. I can't believe. Like, there's certain tie-ins you can do that in a similar fashion to that work really well. A great example of what they should have done to do with Stranger Things is something similar to how Borderlands 2 tied in Minecraft. If they did something like that, that's great. That's one of my favourite kind of Easter egg side mission things that I've ever seen in a video game. That's a great way to tie stuff in. To do Stranger Things like that is just fucking criminal. And I hated it. It's awful. So shit. And another thing as well, the last thing I'm going to say, all of this game's got all these bad things going for it, right? And it's fucking massive. It's like 160 gigabytes. Why? You've taken so much shit out. The textures can't be the thing that's taken up, because those are shit a lot of the time. Why is it so massive? I just had an update for it yesterday, right? Bear in mind, I'd installed the entire game. It's been out for a year, right? I had an update yesterday. 10.5 gigabyte update. It's been out a year. What are you doing? What's been added? There's also a Rambo-based mission, which is stupid as well. But anyway, I could bang on about how shit this game is for ages.
So they're just doing weird movie and Netflix tie-ins. Like, they're not even trying.
They're not. Having said that,
Like,
right,
I know
makes
you could turn the podcast into a pyro-cynical episode, but like they actually were like rich, like character-driven stories. Like at one point,
yeah.
they had compelling villains and everything. Like I promise, I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. I'm not lying. I'm not trying to coerce you into playing them.
Yeah. It's after all is said and done with this, right? It sounds like I'm going to give this. We have a spreadsheet where we rate video games out of 100. We do movies and TV as well, if you're not aware. I mention it a lot in podcasts, but after all this, you think I'd give it a really terrible score? I've not. It's not a really terrible score because fundamentally, Far Cry games are still quite fun to silently snipe people's heads and watch them fall over and things like that. The basis, this is why it's so frustrating, because there's so much potential. We've already seen the fruits of the potential of this series, and it's so frustrating because they fuck it up. I gave it a 40 out of 100. You gave it a 50 out of 100, which I think is generous, if anything. I gave it a 40 out of 100. It's similar to, like, Dune, the movie Dune, and things like that to me, where there is a lot technically to like about it, but there's so much shit and it's so disappointing that they fucked it up that I believe a score of 40 is where those sorts of things lie. To put it into perspective, the worst Far Cry game I still think is Far Cry 5, which I gave 37. But that's because, like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with the inherent gameplay of Far Cry 6. They've made it worse in certain ways, but there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. Whereas Far Cry 5, you would get, like, kidnapped and interrupted and shit, and you couldn't do what you were trying to do or you wanted to do, and all sorts of other extra bullshit that was really annoying. There's certain bits about Far Cry 5 that I think slightly better than 6, but when you're like actively affecting whether I can shoot and like drive a car, you know, whether I'm allowed to, it's like in this open world game, that's a bit worse, I think. So man, Far Cry's really dropping the ball. I had to rant about it. I had to get it out there. Because fucking hell. I can't believe it. What do they need to do next time? What do they need to do to fix this, Judd?
First of all, they need to focus on characters and not fucking gimmicks. Not stupid fucking kiddie gimmicks like tying in fucking Stranger Things or whatever the fuck.
It's a serious open world story game. First things first, isn't it?
But not serious, and like it doesn't have to be serious all the way through. Like you can still have your occasional crazy weapons and stuff. Like Far Cry's known for that, and it's weird fucking transports as well, like the little gyrocopter thing from 4, or the egg. Like you can still have your weird shit like that, but have like interesting characters. Just
think like The Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight movie. That's a serious movie, but there's some bits that are like, you could smirk, and there's some like fucking like the Batmobile in that. That's fucking crazy, you know? Like, and think The Dark Knight. It's a perfect example because the villain in The Dark Knight is the star as well. So that sort of thing is what you're hitting when it comes to that, right?
Yeah. So that sort of tone. And just, I don't know, just fuck it. You just need to stop. You need to just fucking focus on the writing and the story the most. Yeah. I honestly feel like that's because the gameplay, it's already done. It's already you had it done at 4, right? It was basically there. It was
basically perfected at 4.
Yeah. So all you really have to focus on is your setting and your story and your characters.
So what setting do you think they should go towards next?
Well, so the whole thing of Far Cry is someone, but so that's the thing as well. Though I feel like it didn't even stick to the whole premise of Far Cry, this newest one, because it's always been Far Cry has always been, even in 1 and 2, someone putting an element that they're not, or an environment, or that they're not comfortable with. It's only 3 and 4 that sort of like hyperlight, like really shone a light on it, because 1 and 2 was like you were still these sort of like army operatives or mercenaries or something, but you were still put in like a foreign land, like deep in a jungle somewhere, so that you're still on your own. It's just 3 and 4. It was like you were some dumbass fucking Westerner that
in
sits around a
5,
place.
you were at
being a
least
legend.
just a rookie policeman. You know, you had
Yeah,
some
yeah,
sort
and
of.
five, yeah.
Do you know what? That's something Far Cry 5 did really well. I think choosing the character for you to start off as. I think it's good that you weren't like massively trained as a policeman. You still had to like become fucking grizzled and shit. But
the thing is as well though. And it was in America, which is like, you know, where that character is from. You don't really have a character so much in 5, do you? Because it's a silent protagonist, and that one's more of a role player thing where you're meant to fit in. But it, even though it was America, it still was like felt like a very isolated part of America. Like you still felt like you were cut off from reasonable. I was about to say reasonable thinking Americans,
but I have to say, I almost felt like, why is this so cut off though? He did feel cut off, so that's good. But I was still always questioning, it doesn't have to be though. Like, this is really obvious. Some shit's going down here. Why ain't like actual government stepping in?
Yeah,
they tried to explain it away, but it's not good enough explanation for me.
Yeah.
So that,
but whereas in 6, it's not that like at all. Like Yara's not an isolated place, like, and everybody knows what's going on with Yara as well. Like, it's very open, the shit that's happening in Yara. And you've also always been from Yara as well, haven't you? Like you went somewhere. Your character's been
you're
somewhere.
You're an orphan from Yara.
Back. Yeah, you're from Yara. You understand Yara, so that's you're not like on your own off somewhere. In fact, isn't like the beginning of it you sort of being welcomed back?
No, it's
like
I don't know. Maybe I don't think so. I think it's just you're hanging out with some friends who are like. I think you're going somewhere. So
you're not like in this sort of foreign and strange land because you fucking grew up there. So they need to. That's the number one. You're somebody from somewhere, and you're going to somewhere else that's completely foreign to you, and it's a completely like new thing where you have to adapt or you fuck.
And it doesn't have to be so literally foreign. You don't have to be from America going to somewhere in Africa. You can be from America going to somewhere in America that's like, what the fuck? I never knew this place existed. It's so weird and nothing like anywhere I've seen before.
Which is kind of what Far Cry 5 did.
Yeah.
Kind of what they did. Like it was still in America. It's just a very sort of like remote and fucked up and weird place of America. But the main thing is it has to be someone out of their element and having to adapt. Yeah,
and you have to use that as a basis for a well thought out story, character driven, character based, and there has to. It's hard to describe other than that because you wouldn't want to give you'd want more leeway to be able to send the story in directions.
Yeah.
But also, when it comes to just gameplay wise, right? Take Far Cry 4 as a basis, you pretty much have that nailed. And have some specific missions that are solid. There's got to be a reason for them that works with the story. Make the first time you do them be part of the story and necessary, right? And then make there be a reason that actively affects the people who you're fighting with. Make a reason to do those missions that actively affects them. You know, you make it clear. And don't overly complicate it. Don't tie it too far into different gameplay features and that. Just make it solid, easy to understand, and fun to play with solid feeling gameplay. That's that. It's just really not that hard of a formula, honestly. The actually technically doing it is the reason why we want Ubisoft to do it, because the technicalities of it is the thing that they need to pull off. It's the decisions that are being made that's fucking it up. I don't know. I think that describes it well enough, doesn't it?
We need somebody we've not like seen really before or heard as well for the main villain. We don't want another fucking Gus Fring.
Yeah,
like,
do
first of all.
not use an actual actor. Don't. Fucking
Like-
ridiculous idea. I'm thinking for a setting, maybe like I mean, Russia could be quite good. Maybe somewhere that's not as big as like and obvious as Russia. Maybe like Serbia. You know, something like that.
It has to have a not real name, but sounds like the place. So, Brockfia.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm
yeah.
talking of a place to base it off.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe like kind of an Aborigine type of thing from Australia, something like that.
That's the thing as well, because I do actually like it when they go into the whole spirituality side of wherever they're doing, because I don't know, I like that. So
it's because culture's interesting.
Yeah, it'd have to be somewhere that like has a sort of cool culture that you can sort of, you know, have that spin on it.
I feel like the culture's a bit of a joke in Far Cry 6.
Which is you don't want to be doing that. That's not good.
I don't get it. But anyway, I think that's it. I think we're done complaining for the day. Thanks for indulging us on this one if you've listened all the way through. It's not the worst game ever, but it's just been annoying because it's one of those things where there's so much potential. It's one of those things where when something that's a bit bad comes out for something that you love, you're very passionate about it. So that's what's happened. But you know, like, follow, subscribe, and
Yeah,
good.
do it.
Send us off with your final words that you always say. These ones.
My final words that I always say are "Get out of here, you, the one."